You're alive. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nihiyeh b'dvaro. Okay, good morning. Good morning to everyone out there who is viewing, part of us from a distance. You are a part of us and we are a part of you, as Yisrael is Guf Echad. Israel is one body, one whole, uniting on words of Torah. Starting our week with the teachings of Mottel Zilber. Today we're going to do an introduction. The past few weeks or month, we've been learning on a subject focused on Hashem's love for us. And today we want to do an introduction to these teachings to give us a sense of where we are coming from. So you're following along in the sheets. It says Musar, Yisurim. As is mentioned, Rav Mottel's teachings are centered on the Sefer Mesilas Yesharim. And Mesilas Yesharim serves as such a central and impactful Sefer of Avodas Hashem. A very, very tremendous guide in guiding people of all levels toward Avodas Hashem. Now, this whole area of Torah has various names to describe it, and that's the subject of today's teaching. The name of this area of Torah may be called Avodas Hashem, the service of God, or perhaps Musar, different names that describe this area of Torah. And the name that Rav Mottel is working with is the name of Musar here. It's interchangeable with Avodas Hashem. And very important to know that this is a whole area of Torah, of study itself, and to understand the names. Hine Shem Musar Sharsho Milashon Yisurim. Now, the name Musar, the shoresh, the root, is related to the word Yisurim, which can mean afflictions or pain. Ubir Hadavarhu, the explanation is as follows. Ki kesherotzen l'chayev v'lachof es ha'adam sheyasa eze davar. If we want to obligate a person, to even coerce a person to do something, anything, ofen hachi pashut v'kal, the manner in which is most simple and easy is lahachricho v'lachofo l'pu'ulahu, is to force the person to do the activity. Al yidei shemevi'in alav yisurim, by bringing upon the person some sort of pain or difficulty. Shal yidei zeh behechrach, through that, by force, kofef es atzmo lehim yaser umali bakashasa. A person will be coerced into fulfilling the request of the one that's requesting. So, just to explain, anyone that is a parent or a teacher or a boss, and you have a certain mandate, you have a certain desire. So the most direct way, a simple way, is to coerce the person to do such, by threatening the person, by saying if you don't do it, difficult things will happen to you, or by actually doing those things, right? And often it is the most simple way and direct way that people go when it comes to parenting or any relationship. Say we have a greater and a lesser. We often just simply go to that way because we want it to get done. We know it's the proper thing, or we want, this is our will, and therefore we go into that mode of force. That's a big area of mistake in parenting, because we have that power, and we have our own desires, and then we automatically turn toward that method as a way of bringing about what we want. So that is the most simple and direct way. So now we speak about matters of service of God, where Hashem has in His Torah the service of what we are supposed to do. It is possible to coerce man to fulfill the Torah and mitzvos through bringing difficulty. It's pain. So Hashem says it is absolutely necessary for the Jewish people to fulfill the Torah and the mitzvos. One way that Hashem could do that is by bringing us to a situation where we must do it. And indeed, we find in the Torah many parashios, right? The Torah says that if you don't do this, right, then these things will happen to you. So there is an element of that where it's the necessity of the Torah and mitzvahs is so great that Hashem could work within that method. Certainly, if a person has pain coming to them and they recognize the source of that, by force they'll be pressed into doing the service, and they'll be aroused and feel obligated to do the Torah mitzvahs out of that position. The outcome is certainly pain has the potential, has the power to turn a person to fulfilling Hashem's will. So that could certainly achieve the objective, and if the objective is so important that it must be, that may be a method that Hashem would employ to get us to do that. For example, Chazal say that more effective than all the words and all the messages of all the prophets was when Achashverosh gave his ring to Haman and gave him the power to do what he wanted. So then the Bnei Yisrael, who understood that which happens to them is decreed from above, were suddenly charged to turn their attention to doing what's right, to doing tshuva, to doing return. So that's certainly a method that Hashem can use, and understanding the importance of Torah and mitzvos for the Bnei Yisrael, it is something that may happen. However, certainly this isn't the desired purpose. That person should be forced to the service of Hashem from that position. Because the whole world is made to benefit, to do good. It's not Hashem's will to bring pain to the person. He may, but it's not his will. Certainly there's a way that's positive, it's beneficial. That can obligate a person to the service without coercion. So there is a method of sort of obligation. It doesn't come from the place of a person being pressed into it because they're having pain from Hashem, and therefore they must turn to doing what's right. So says Mottel, for this objective, nislal chachmas hamusar is the whole path of the wisdom of Musar. As we mentioned, this whole area of Torah called Musar, its shorish, its roots, it comes from the language of Yisurim, pain. Sha'ofen pu'lasahu. Now the way that this is supposed to work, this whole area of wisdom, Shakesha'adam musari misbonim b'sichlo. A person that's musari, because they are in this area of musar. They are learning it. They're thinking in it. Misbonim b'sichlo, they begin to contemplate. Umasig eze hisbonus ba'avoda b'daito. And they reach a certain understanding of the importance of service in their mind. Harei hu kvar margish be'atzmo k'muchliya b'davar. They feel within themselves obligated. V'izbonuso kvar maspekes. Their contemplation is already sufficient. Lachofo, lahachricho, lemalus machshavto, v'tafkido, to force them to fulfill his thought, his purpose, shehis orer alav b'hizbon nesichlo, that they have begun to become aroused by their contemplation. So, in other words, when we speak about this whole area of Torah, it's called Musar. In a sense, it accomplishes what the Yisurim accomplish, what the pain accomplishes. And then, in other words, when a person is pressed into something and they feel that pain, so it may turn them to do the right thing. I don't want to get hit, let's say. A person will say, therefore I'll do the right thing. The wisdom of Musar is such that when a person realizes the importance of the wisdom and they begin to contemplate it, they feel obligated. So that they are not being obligated to by a stick, by a whip anyway, but by the realization in their own mind of the importance of this. So, for example, we have many teachings, let's say, in this whole area of Musar. Let's speak about the importance of the service of God and the greatness of the service of God and how it's so right and it's so good and it's the proper way of living and how sensible it is. All these different teachings, beginning with the ideas of Proverbs, Mishlei, and then as it's expressed by all our different Sepharim that are encouraging us toward the service of God. when a person begins to think about that and begins to contemplate it, then the realization of that truth itself obligates a person. And the person understands, this is something I need to do. It's something that's important to do. Therefore, it's not by the power of anyone's persuasion or anyone's coercion or anyone's words, but by the simple realization of the importance and necessity of this. It speaks of a certain maturity that happens. Often you see it with young people. There's a transition where they're encouraged to do something because of, let's say, reward. And at a certain point, they are encouraged to do that very thing, and it's not because of the reward. It's because of the realization of how important this is. And therefore, you can stop giving the treats. Or conversely, you can stop threatening with punishments, because there's an impact, there's a maturity from the person's own mind. So this whole area of the service of God, which we're speaking in, there's all these ideas about the service of God and the importance of that and development of the proper characteristics. What is vital in Hashem's will is that a person is encouraged by their own realization to be motivated toward taking this seriously. In place of being needing to force the person with Yisurim, Gashmiyim, some physical afflictions, they feel the necessity by the wisdom contained within this musar, which in a sense are holy afflictions. So that's the idea of the word musar. When we speak about this whole area of ideas, teachings, encouraging us toward the service of God, and why it's called that. And the chachmas hamusa, the wisdom in it, is the wisdom that of Hashem, and then the maturity of the person to realize its importance, its seriousness. Conversely, says Rav Mottel on top of the page, someone that does not want to accept musar. Nikra lates, they're called a lates. Now, a lates, which is a common expression in Mishlei Proverbs of Shlomo HaMelech, Rav Mottel says is really the first work of musar, because it's a whole sefer of the Tanakh that really speaks just about ideas, little pearls of wisdom in the service of God. We say Reishis Chachma Yiras Hashem, like different teachings of Proverbs. The beginning of wisdom is the reverence of God. So Mishlei contains a lot of these very pithy teachings on the ideas of musar. Now there in the Sefer Mishlei, it often speaks about a lates. And a lates literally translated as someone that is like a scoffer or a joker. Sometimes is the translation. What does it mean? He says, Shebir inin leitzanos, so leitzanos, sometimes it translates mockery, to make mockery, means shemetzachek al devarim hatzrichim lehiskapel beritzinos. Someone that makes light of those things that need to be accepted with seriousness. So a late isn't necessarily a guy that makes jokes, but someone that does not take the serious things seriously. Right? Which is often what humor is. Humor is often taking serious things and not taking it seriously. making a mockery of something serious, right? You make a mockery of a person, right? Often what humor is. You have a serious person or a serious subject, and you make jokes about it. It means you make a mockery of it. So late sanus is, in a sense, the opposite, where you have a serious subject, and you don't take it seriously. And you relate to it, in a way that's light. It's lacking the serious nature. Hepech kabbalas ol. It's the opposite of what's called kabbalas ol. This is a very important point. Kabbalas ol means accepting. The ol literally means a yoke, right? Means responsibility. And the very, very first idea in the service of Hashem is accepting this responsibility. Kabbalas ol. And that's sort of the front line. So the lates, whenever he hears Musar, he puts up the defenses and starts to make a mockery of all things serious. Makes a joke. Now the ultimate goal of those jokes is, I don't want to take this seriously. I don't want to face what this is. So they make a mockery of it, or of people that are in something serious. But what lies behind it is the lack of looking at the seriousness of the matter and accepting it. That is the initial step in all service of God. It's called kabbalas ol, accepting that responsibility. And in life, in general, one finds, right? When you have people that are not serious, they're not taking the responsibility of whatever it is, of marriage, responsibility of making a living, responsibility of being responsible for one's actions, responsible for others. That's the beginning. Right? You see it in the very beginning of the Torah. Adam, when he's confronted by Hashem, why did you eat from the tree? He says, Chava. And the next generation, Cain, when Hashem says, where's your brother? My brother's keeper. So you see, always the first line is always a deflection. You're not to take it seriously. So therefore, the conversation doesn't even start. He deflected right from the start. It had nothing to do with it. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was someone else. It's not me. It's something else. Right? That's always the beginning, is acceptance. Then there could be a conversation. Maybe you're responsible. Maybe you're not. But the first thing is, do you accept in general this idea? So the lates is someone that at the front line deflects the whole thing. That's the opposite of kabbalas ol. So when a boy becomes a bar mitzvah or a girl becomes bas mitzvah, right, what happens right there is kabbalas ol, accepting the responsibility of the mitzvahs. And for someone that's beginning to turn their attention to Hashem in a serious way, it's also about kabbalas ol, accepting the responsibility. So it's nice people say, well, I never became bar mitzvah, I never had a bar mitzvah. That's irrelevant. If you had the ceremony or not, if you were called to the Torah, or if you did anything. It's about kabbalas ol. What did you at any point turn your attention to the fact that Hashem is asking something of you? And are you accepting of that? Now, the moment you turn your attention and you accept that, that's the start. So that's what our Shema, the most elemental prayer, is called by the Chachamim, kabbalas ol malchus Shemayim, accepting Hashem as King. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad is absolutely the beginning. That's what we teach a child from the beginning, because it's kabbalas ol. You accept that responsibility. That's very, very, very significant. If you want to say where's really, really, really the beginning, that's the beginning. That's what's meant by Mishlei, that Reishis Chachma Yiras Hashem. Beginning of all wisdom is Yiras Hashem. And Yiras Hashem, the beginning of reverence of God is to recognize Hashem. There is Hashem. And that recognition itself is the beginning of the whole path. Ubenosaf lazet, in addition to this, sheyaf ulai yimatzei sheina osamem schol mamish. You may find people that don't make a joke, literally a joke. Ava imisiaches ledvar matzrichim liskav bekabalas ol ritzini. But surah shein nogela. If a person relates to those things that must be accepted with a serious responsibility in a way that doesn't really pertain to me. Kvarnik relates, you're called a late. You're in this category. In other words, not just you make a mockery out of the subject or you make a mockery of those types of people, but Eino Nogeli doesn't really pertain to me. Whatever, that type of thing, as if it's over your head. Then you're already in that list because you're not accepting it. Kabbalah means you accept it. And to accept means you really, you turn your attention to it and you say, yes, this is important and this is relevant. So it doesn't mean that person it makes a mockery. You don't accept it. It's as if it's not relevant to you. It's not relevant. Then there's no beginning. And that's why, when anyone begins, whichever way, as a student, or if one's a teacher, one must show or see, how is this relevant? Because you have a whole area of, well, that's for those people. That's for that person that's orthodox, or whatever category you'll say to deflect that responsibility. The question is, how is this relevant? How is this relevant? Does it pertain to me? And therefore, if one can see relevance, or one can be shown relevance, then you can have a degree of Kabbalah of acceptance, turning your attention in a serious way to a serious subject. That's what we say at the Seder. The point is with the engagement with the children or with anyone, is this relevant or not? So the Rasha, the one that's called wicked, takes himself out of that category. He says it's relevant to you, not me. So his first step of how he moves away is by deflecting everything, is by making that categorization. That has to do with you, not with me. And therefore, the initial step in really accepting responsibility is, how is this relevant? And often one sees how it's relevant is through realizing the wisdom that's there, realizing just how it affects one's life in a positive way. It's often a beginning. I see the benefit of this. This helps me in life. I can see my life is more fulfilled. My life is more whole and complete, more measured, more balanced. Often that's a way of how a person sees relevance. And from there, a person can progress. Someone that does not relate to these ideas of Musar, of teachings, of guidance, service of God with seriousness, called a leitz. Sheperish leitzu, This is the explanation, as we said. Leitz means the relationship to serious matters in a way of not accepting responsibility. Therefore, Chazal established this following teaching. It's anyone that makes a mockery out of something, Yisurim ba'em alav, he will have afflictions come upon him. Hashem's going to afflict that person. So now we understand that teaching. Why is it that if a person makes a mockery, they will indeed have Yisurim? Shekeven she'enu mesyaches l'sfas hamusar, since they're not relating to the language of the musar, there's this language of the wisdom, they're not turning their attention to realizing how important this is. It then becomes musar, the yisurim. If a person is not accepting the teachings in the way of realizing the seriousness of the matter and themselves feeling motivated and obligated, so then the result of that is Hashem will bring the person in the way of musar, the yisura. One way or another, Hashem wants to bring the person to the attention of this is vital and this is important. And he has in sort of in brackets here, Yesh lahadgish bir leitz eina she'osa vertalach. It's important to emphasize is that when we call that calling someone late, it's not someone that says vertalach. It's like jokes, someone like that. At times, that's a very important thing. A person to engage, to be humorous, to be light. Often a person can do good things with it. You can lighten up the mood. You can make somebody happy, right? You can sort of draw yourself or draw others closer, as the Gemara says that Rabbah was when he wanted to begin his teachings, or teach his students, he would say something humorous, and it says when the Chachamim would laugh, and it says then he would cloak himself in the fear of God, and he'd begin his teachings. So he opened up, he created an opening for people, students, by making the joke. And that's a sort of psichas halei, a certain opening, a certain comfort to allow the teachings of the Torah to enter and immediately be able to see a transition in himself. And he was cloaked in the sense of Yiras Hashem, and then he began his teachings. But if he would begin without that, then it would be this heavy wall that would be between the teachings or himself and the students, wouldn't be able to penetrate into the heart. So it's important to penetrate into the heart that you soften the heart a little bit. And so therefore humor, being light, is an important tool in that it allows one to now turn their attention to something serious. So this isn't to say that a person should be heavy, God forbid, but just to be overly serious all the time. It means relationship to something serious in a serious way. A person can inherit the world to come. And if a person utilizes it in a present situation. I think Gemara reports about one of the Chacham that had a revelation of Eliyahu Hanavi when he was in the marketplace, and he asked Eliyahu, "Tell me, who here is someone that's going to inherit the world to come?" So Eliyahu said, "These fellows over there." So he went and he saw that they were going around and they were saying jokes. They were making people happy. So when he asked them what they did, and he told them, And he realized that the whole purpose of their humor was to bring joy to people, was to improve the mood of people, to take friends out of being depressed. So he realized that they're doing a holy activity, a holy work. So this is not to confuse a serious subject with just being always a heavy person. Okay, so let's start the next piece. Let's try to explain in greater depth this whole concept of Musar. She'ish Musari, the man of Musar. It's sufficient for him to motivate himself through it. So once a person starts to become someone that begins to look at these teachings and begin to take it serious, then one doesn't need, in a sense, the motivator, the outside motivator. That's helpful and that's important, but it's not necessary for the person. They are self-motivated. We should first introduce the idea by citing what the Rambam writes. The Rambam explains, what does it mean to serve God? Lishma, completely in a way that is just for Hashem and not looking for ulterior purpose. Someone that serves God out of love, Oseg b'Torah over mitzvos, involves himself in learning Torah and doing mitzvos. V'holich b'nesivos hachachma, and goes in the paths of wisdom. Lo mipnei davar ba'olam, not because of anything else that's external. V'lo mipnei yiras hara, not because they fear any evil that will befall them. V'lo kedei lirash hatova, not because they're trying to gain some benefit, something here or even something that's a promised spiritual reward. It's not what motivates them. Ella osa ha'emes mipnei shu emes. They do the truth because it's true. So this is the idea we're speaking about when a person turns their attention to it, and then these teachings begin to really make an impression, and you feel compelled to do so because this is what's right, this is what is correct. And that is the idea of the Ish Musari, the person of Musar. These teachings is this caliber person. Okay, so we'll hold over here for today. We have the women's class. But this is the first point. Is contemplate is the whole beginning of this whole subject of we'll be now entering into a new area in these teachings. We have to preface by understand these teachings are teachings of Avodas Hashem, of service of God, or Musar. And the Musar means where you have these teachings that are supposed to make the impression in the person's mind and their heart that they turn themselves in a serious way to a serious subject. And thus, they accomplish the very, very first necessary thing, which is called Kabbalas Ol, accepting the responsibility of this lifestyle, this path, and beginning to turn your attention to it, and feeling the responsibility to do so, which is the result of turning to these teachings with seriousness. Okay, let's have a wonderful week and a wonderful Chodesh of great Aliyah.